So it's Halloween time.
It is.
It's Halloween time. What is your favorite thing about Halloween?
The kids dressing up.
Is it the kids, like your kids, or kids in general?
Just kids in general. To see who or what they choose to be, or if they go like outside the box of, what you think a kid would pick to be.
Like a kid being like what, a businessman or a grown up or something?
Something just like, something you just wouldn't think of. Like you think mostly they do like the Hulk or Spider-Man or Wonder Woman, things like
Yeah,
that.
the classics.
Right.
Classics, yes.
And then you have somebody that comes out to be like a kitchen table or
That would be absolutely awesome.
So that
That
type
kid
stuff.
gets all the candy.
Right? Just have the whole bowl. So you
like
got
no, you get one piece, Timmy. You get another piece. Is it the table? Oh, here, the table just gets the bowl. I'll refill later. Take the bowl with you, so you can carry more candy. Because I'm pretty sure someone else is gonna give the table more candy.
Right.
That's a great costume. Okay, so for me, it's like it comes in stages now because now I'm older. So it's like what I think about when I think about Halloween depends on what part of what time I'm thinking about. Like if you ask me about Halloween now is different than it was when I was in my trick or treating years, versus the mid college years where you're doing college stuff and starting families and stuff like that. And now I'm even older, so now I'm at the other end. So for me, what I remember about Halloween, my favorite part is seeing, like you said, it's not the costumes, but it was all the people in the street. It was like the neighborhood being everybody in the street. You don't even have to know who everybody was. You don't know if they were from the same neighborhood as you, but it was just so many people outside, and you see the whole family. This family comes up, so everybody's got their costumes on. Everybody's not feeling insecure or I got to dress up and I didn't. It's like I don't care if I'm just a sheep. We're whatever it is. And then we're trick or treating with the
buckets.
See, I can see. We weren't that privileged. We used pillowcases.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we just pull a pillowcase off, and like the pillowcase is what we took because plastic bags always broke. It's like you can't go with like one of those
That's true.
Kroger bag, Walmart bags.
But I don't know if you remember this. What we used to use and keep for years was back in the day. McDonald's used to give out their Happy Meals in the Halloween
Yeah, they
buckets.
did. The little orange buckets.
Yes.
I definitely remember the yeah.
So my parents would take us to McDonald's and get us that, and then we would use that bucket for Halloween. Yep.
For us, I was like, the pillowcase was classic for us. I mean, me and my brothers, because like that's what you remember, like because you can, it's a pillowcase, so you can imagine how much candy it holds, right? So that's the whole night you lugging this thing, and then you just kind of spin it around and tie it up and throw it under the bed or something like that. You just it looks like a pile of clothes at this point, but it's full of candy. So that's what I remember about that. But like I said, when I said it was coming in stages, it's like I remember that part from being a child. Like I like the candy and all the people, and then when I started the family, when it's family time and you start doing family stuff, it was like, okay, now I'm interested in what my kids look like, where what these other kids look like, or what the events they're doing, and how their bags are, are they got good candy, make sure they got everything. So that was more fun for me, watching the younger generation dress up, because I was much less interested in that point in my life. Like I just like, no, I don't care for Halloween. I like giving out candy. I like being on the, getting a chance to be the opposite person for a little bit. Like I was like, oh, I can hand out candy now, like because I've always been way too big to be trick or treating. Okay, like,
but then when you hand out the candy, you get to see everybody.
That's what I'm saying. So that's that was the difference about it. So you got to see everybody. You got to greet all the kids, and you got to choose. You didn't get to make that kid feel special. Like, oh, look at that, you're the only one of this I've seen. Or so that dynamic was always better. I like that dynamic better. And then there was, I guess after that is where I'm at now, and it's almost full circle, because it's like you went from dressing up and having fun to not dressing up and watching other people have fun, and then you get again. It's like Now I'm at the dress up and have fun stage again. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an older adult now, and it's like, oh, I just want to dress up and go play.
Fun,
and I want to go play too. I don't mind because I
don't care anymore.
I about to say after a certain after a certain age, you just stop caring. Like none of that high school stuff that people are dealing with. Like none of that he say she say or I feel some kind of way. You just hit a certain number and it's like a switch. As soon as you hit that number. So for most people it's a little different, but there is a number you hit, and then as soon as you turn that age, it's like, oh, what is this feeling? it's like you got lighter. It's like, oh, I'm floating. There's no weight I don't care anymore. There's no more weight for how you feel about what I want to do. Because
I think it's an age, and I think with some people it's certain life events where that happens, and it's like, all right, I
can see that.
I'm good. You can't tell me shit.
Yeah, true.
Tell me shit.
For those who are not having major life events, it's definitely some sort of number. It's an age. It's an age range that you hit. So now I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's run costumes. Let's dress up. Let's go full out. I got I'm an adult now. I make money, so it's like let's go spend some money and do the whole thing. And of course now there's social media, so everybody's got to show off what they're doing and where they're at and how their family came together. Or you're trying to plan group costumes like which superhero group is got enough people to fit our family? Right. Like, is there enough of these? We got one too many people for that one. Now what else? What do we do now? Right. So that's the funner part for me. Like that's
trying to figure something out as a family.
Just trying to now is like, I want to go dress up. I want to show up. I mean, I'm even at a point where I'm thinking like, damn, do I show up to work? Dress up? Like, do I want to go to work with something to dress up?
Halloween costume contest at my job. And they were doing like the haunted hospital thing. And almost everybody forgot. But 3 people remembered and showed up. Let me tell you something. This one lady, oh my gosh, you remember in the movie? I couldn't remember the movie. They say it was The Ring. But the one, whichever movie was where the girl was in the TV.
With the long black hair?
With the long black hair.
Yeah, The Ring.
Okay, so it was that one. So she dressed up as her after she came out the TV, and she has long dreads, so she just let her dress hang
right in front of her face. Yeah, where you can't see her face.
She had on a white coat because she went with the Halloween thing, but you could tell that's what she was doing. So she had on the white coat, the scrubs, and she was carrying whatever the girl had in the movie. I guess somebody said she was carrying something. But anyway,
I don't remember her carrying anything.
Oh, well, she was carrying something. Besides, she had some music playing on her phone, so you could see her having
she had the Ring music
playing?
Yeah,
she had the music playing on her phone, and she was walking around real slow, and she had her hair hang down a little bit, and she had super long black nails.
Man, please tell me that her face was painted white. With the black eyes.
Somebody said that it was. Now, when I saw her hair was so covered and she was walking.
Yes, I'm saying you're not supposed to see it till she pops up on you. But when she pops up,
but she didn't pop up on me. Oh. But I knew she did pop up on some people because you kept hearing random screams around the job.
Oh, yeah.
And they was like, damn, Tammy got somebody else.
She definitely had her face painted then. She had to have the all white face with the black eyes.
Because I overheard, I was walking by, they was like, yeah, man, she got that white face painted on there too. And I was like, she must have
that pop up,
yeah.
That. Oh man, them Japanese characters be scary.
Yeah, and she just randomly hear, she got somebody else. See? But they was like, oh, the contest was canceled. We was like, but she still should have won.
Yeah. Can't cancel the contest because no one remembered to do it.
No, you
but
just
them.
have to put it between those 3.
Well, that's it. You figured out who won. Clearly, it was the Ring lady. she won. That's how that
Everybody
goes.
was traumatized. It was horrible. People were turning around like, oh, girl, I thought she was Tammy.
You're running for her all day. That's hilarious. Man, so what do you know about the origins of Halloween?
Honestly, not a lot. Somebody told me a story about it at one point a while ago, but I don't.
So you don't have an idea like what Halloween actually is, or where it came from, or what the thought was, why it started?
I've heard different things.
I've heard a few things too, but I'm trying to see if you know something, or maybe I heard something similar to what I heard, or you got your own theory on how it came about.
Most of what I heard pertains to it being of an evil thing, but
no, I mean,
like I said,
yeah. As far as I guess it depends on what you're saying. That's like saying if for some reason a religious faction was behind telling the story of Halloween, then of course it could probably incorporate things that are related to a religious side of things. So there'll probably be like light and dark and evil and angels and devils and that kind of stuff. So I've heard a few theories of how this came about. I've heard a few different stories. The one that stuck with me a little bit, I'm gonna tell you this one. So it doesn't I don't know where it was. I want to say it's like Scotland or some place, in the actual East, somewhere over there. But supposedly their Halloween started because every year around this time, all the kids in the area were like no school. It's got that no school kind of vibe, but this is like, back in the day, 18, 19, 1700s, like those kind of days. So it was back then. So it was like, they grew their own plants and crops and things like that. So basically these kids had this time frame where kids just got together on this one night and they just tore the goddamn town apart. And this lady got in, you know what I'm saying? And this is what they did every single year around this time, but they got to the point where they were destroying stuff. Like this lady had this garden and her flowers and all this other stuff, and she got her stuff tore up every year, and it was just getting destroyed every year. So what she decided to do was she was like, she started to try to dress up and like, I'm trying to remember how this actually went. She's trying to dress up and like get the kids' attention, like, oh, let's, I'll give you some candy if you don't come over here and mess up my yard, kind of deal, something like that, right? Too. So I'll give you a piece of candy. So she's giving out candy to keep the kids from coming back to mess up the yard. But, they still come and do. That's that's probably that's where they get most of that stuff. Where the people are TPing your yards and destroying the yards because it came from somewhere, right? So supposedly the lady was giving out the candy. Kids still destroyed the yard. I mean, they still destroyed other things. So they trying to figure out a way to make it bigger. So she ended up like getting the community involved in it, and then it's like, okay, we'll all hand out candy and throw a party at this place, like a costume party, like a kind of party costume. We get the kids candy and let them drink and have fun and all that stuff, so that they'd be way too tired when they're done to go out and damage the town after the fact. So that's what they started. That's what they started to do. They call it. It was different then. They all gathered in one spot and did it in the one spot.
Yeah.
Versus them going house to house.
See, I heard something similar to that. It started the same way you started it, but then when the lady thought of something to do for the kids, it was that the kids would come up there and she caught them as they were coming to the house trying to mess up her yard, and she went out there with a bowl of candy and said, "Hey, trick or treat. If you mess up the yard or whatever, you don't get no candy. But if you give you some candy, you take it, then you can't mess up my yard." And of course, the kids being kids, they took the candy and they didn't mess up the yard. And so the neighbors saw that, and so that's kind of how it happened, because the neighbors saw that they didn't mess up her yard because they gave her candy.
I like that one a little better, but I mean, it rings. Yeah. It has the same theme to it, right. So it could be true. Yeah. It could be variations on the same story because word of mouth, things change a little bit. So the other theory, or the one that people seem to go with a little more, is that of course it did come from overseas. Everything about this is from overseas, of course, because the States, we don't have anything that's original. So it came from overseas, and then so what happened is these people, I can't remember who it was, what group it was that came over, but they came over and they had this festival that they did over there. It was called something else. Like it It was actually on like the 13th or something like that. It was like the original day was like October 13th, and they used to do this celebration over there.
Was it a Friday? Or it just happened to be?
No, it just happened to be a Thursday. Like, I mean, not Thursday, the 13th. That was just the day it was. Okay. No matter what day of the year it fell on, it was still just the 13th. It was October 13th was the day that they celebrated on. And then, of course, the religion and Pope and all that stuff got involved in it. And they switched it to, it was something about the 1st of November that they was trying to push. So it's from them doing it on the 13th to like the 1st of November, and it was like All Hallows Day or something like that. But then they changed it to like All Saints Hallow Day. It's something like that. Like there's All Saints Day or something like that. There's a day something similar to that called like All Saints Day or the Holy Saints Day or something, and that was like on the 1st. So then it was like what was supposed to be the day before that was like the eve. So it was like the Hallow Eve of the thing like that. So then that's when it started being from like the Hallow Eve to blank it down to like Halloween, and it just became Halloween, and no one cared about whatever the day after was the day was supposed to be the big thing. So this Halloween was supposed to be the eve of another day, and it just became its own big thing. Pumpkins. Why do you have pumpkins for Halloween?
That I don't know. I haven't. I don't think I've heard a story about.
Okay, well, pumpkins. I got one. I got one, right? So, supposedly the pumpkins they had two purposes. Like to say with the last story with the people bringing over their traditions and stuff, they used to do theirs on like turnips or something like that. There was like or squash or something. I think it was squash. So where they were from, squash was their thing to use. Okay. So they didn't use pumpkins. They used squash to do their version of a pumpkin. But when it came to America, at the time, America didn't have that. So they had to switch it over to pumpkins. So that's how pumpkins became a tradition with that time of year, because America had an influx of pumpkins versus whatever they were using back in their country. So they switched from that to pumpkins. And that's how pumpkins became a staple for Halloween, because that was what we had at the time.
Okay.
Another theory on it, though, is that people say that people put the pumpkins in front of their doors and they carve them up to look like various creatures and things like that, because Halloween in itself is supposed to be the time when the veil between the dead and the living is the most thinnest. That's why they say the kids are supposed to, that's the other theory. The kids are supposed to dress up in costumes and everybody looks like ghosts, because that's the day that the living and the dead are on the same plane at the same time. So if the dead won't attack you as the living because you look like a monster, so you look like one of them, they're less likely to attack you or, possess you or whatever the case may be while they're here, because you already look like one of them. So that's what the whole everybody gets dressed up for and hides your face and hides everything about yourself.
Kind of mask
some sort of mask or some sort of cover up, because you're supposed to be hiding yourself from the spirits that are on the earth at that time, looking for a way to stick around.
I could see that, especially in some cultures or religious beliefs.
So that's how that all. So that's part of why that started. And so then after that, the pumpkins became a thing, because they feel like if you carve the pumpkin up as a scary face, it's a ward that this house is already what I'm saying. It's like a monster house, or it's protected somehow. So the pumpkin with the lantern and the scary face outside the house protects the house, or inside. Exactly. So that's exactly where that comes from. So they use the pumpkins as a ward, but it originally started from a group of people that brought Halloween to the States and switched over to pumpkins from squash, because that's what they had when they came here. So those are the only two theories I know of that are related to pumpkins.
Yeah, I haven't heard. That's the first time I've heard any theories concerning the pumpkins. But
you got to look them up.
The last one does make a lot of sense to me.
The pumpkins on the porch with the scary faces. Yeah, that made sense to me too. That's why I was like, I didn't want to go straight to the dark theory of death and the spirits being all right in front of you. But that's where it all came. It all boils down to that, where it's just a very thin veil at that point. Yeah. And each people, and they say that people can get trapped on one side, like humans can get, as we are, can get trapped on the other side of the veil on that night, if like whatever the stipulations are for you to cross over is like you go into something, or you get I don't know, somehow you get lost in a situation and you end up in the other side. And if you don't get back in time, you get trapped over there. Just like spirits get trapped over here because they did something, got stuck over here, and they didn't get back in time before the veil closed. So supposedly that's a thing too. So I don't know. I mean, somebody might know, but I don't know. Scary moments. Halloween's supposed to be about scaring people. So do you have a moment in Halloween history that was a scary moment for you in this time of year?
There's really only one event, I guess you could call it, that sticks out, and I tell everybody the story because this is the only thing that literally scared the crap out of me. So, my aunt used to live up the street from us, and we would go and watch, scary movies around the Halloween time or whatever. So this was like the weekend of Halloween. I'm not sure if it was, what day Halloween was, but it was the weekend of Halloween. And so it just so happened to actually be raining and thundering and all that, right? So perfect scenario for the scary movies.
Always.
I had the lights out, we done pop popcorn. We're all sitting there watching Jason. Okay. Now, from what I remember, this is the first year, or around the first year, that the glow in the dark Jason mask came out.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
My cousin had one. I didn't know he had one.
This is getting good.
So, in the house, there's the kitchen, but it's open, open so you can see through to the living room. And there's a couch right behind the wall of the kitchen, but there's a little gap there, okay? So I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie, laid out. Everybody got their own bucket of popcorn. So I'm, laid out with my pocket popcorn. Till, I'm all into the movie. It's rainy, deep
full
into it, right?
Yeah, I got you.
And then the scene comes where I don't know if Jason popped up or the camera turned and, he was there type thing. But that thing happened, and I jumped from the movie, and my cousin comes from behind the couch with this glow-in-the-dark Jason mask on. When I tell you, I flew into my aunt's room, which was down the hallway. I was going screaming the entire way. All I heard was gasps and then laughter. And, I'm scared shit. I was gone. I ain't look back for nobody. Nope. I was gone. I was in my aunt's room. And the only thing I could think of was, why did I run in here? Like, why didn't I go out the door? Like, my house is down the street. Why did I run in here?
Home. You went to the adult, like a natural instinct to go to somebody bigger.
I was going.
Set somebody else up to get killed.
Oh my God! Right? I can't go alone. I cannot go alone.
You come die with me today, please. Please let it be you.
Baby, yeah, and yeah, when I was so upset.
I'm trying to think about it. I don't have any, like, scary Halloween moments. And I used to be terrified of stuff as a young kid. Like, I was that kid that covered his eyes at the movies. Like, I didn't want to see that part. Like, right before the bad shit happened, like, did it happen yet? I used to be like that, right? So, because I got a lot of, I'm a thinker. I overthink a lot. So it's like in my mind, I can't stay in my room by myself after watching something crazy. So like in my mind, I never did anything crazy. Like only thing I remember about Halloween is being a young man at Halloween, which is doing bad things like egging cars and running through neighborhoods, you know, that kind of stupid stuff. So like it wasn't like scary, it's just exhilarating. And then it's like it's scary because you did something, now you gotta run and everybody's running and you gotta keep running and you're exhausted. Or somebody pulls over because they mad that their car got egged and now you gotta run and you're running through the fields and family like I'm not going to incriminate myself and anybody else, but we definitely threw some eggs at some cars passing by, and the guy stopped. And he stopped real quick, and it was a nice 2-lane, 4-lane highway, right, and 4-lane road. So it's like he stopped and pulled over, and I had family with me. I had my cousin with me, so it was me, 2 other friends who's going to be nameless for now. My cousins with me, so it's like 4. Actually, I think my brother was with me too. So it was like it was a couple people together, right?
Yeah.
So we're hiding and ducking like kind of over the curve, and it's like an open field behind us because it was built. They're about to build something, but they ain't built it yet, right? So we're just like there's an open field of like grass, or it looks like wheat. It's so tall. That's how tall it is, right? So we're throwing the eggs, and sure enough, there's like, oh, you gotta lead it a little bit. You threw like a little lead. Sure enough, the guy can't run out. It hit so hard. You know that sound it hits when it hits that windshield. And sure enough, he pulled over. We're like laughing, but then we started running.
Yeah.
So we're running, but you can't run in the grass at the way how high it was, because the grass was chest height. It's nobody's yard, so nobody's manicuring it. The shit's chest height in the middle of winter. And like, so we're young. We're not thinking rattlesnakes or some crazy sort of animal living in this tall grass. We were just trying to run. Yeah. So we're like running, and you can't run. So you were hopping. You're like, huh, huh. You're doing these motions here. You're like 2-stepping. You're running. You're pushing grass down. And you're jumping to the next section because you can't run straight through it. It's like running, and it's like they're all just gonna be there. So we're kind of just doing this running thing. And so, so imagine it's dark. But there's people in their houses. You see house lights because we're running towards these houses, right? Yeah. So we're just running, and everybody's doing this. So you see, I got my cousin, my brothers, and my friends. Everybody's doing the same motion, and then all of a sudden somebody drops out because he tripped and completely disappeared. It was just like shunk, shunk. Oh, I'm still laughing. I'm like, I can't go back. I'm leaving him. We can't go back. We're just hopping. You hear him get up, and he's trying to get back into motion. And I'm laughing now. I'm panicking because we're still running from somebody. We're running from somebody. I'm laughing.
Even know, was he even still chasing?
He wasn't.
At that point?
He wasn't. He just stopped and got out. You can't drive an egg on your window. I know that now as an adult. I apologize, whoever you are from in the minivan. It wasn't. It wasn't me. I was just there. But he fell in them bushes and disappeared. And that was so hilarious. It's literally to see somebody in your peripheral, like you're running and somebody's here, and you're like, yeah, we're going. It's just like, shunk. He's not there anymore. Where'd he go? It was crazy.
That had to be hilarious.
It was absolutely crazy. So, oh man. So I don't really have a scary thing. Like I don't have anything that was scary, but that's what I remember about Halloween, doing stupid shit like that. Question though.
Okay.
It's Halloween themed. You had to have a pursuer come after you, right? Michael Myers or Jason? Who do you rather have as a pursuer?
What kind of question?
You have to run from one of those two. So you're either Halloween.
Running from either one of them doesn't matter. Doesn't they just fucking pop up wherever you think you're going?
They're not magic. You know what I'm saying? So they get to you eventually, but they don't just pop up.
I can run my ass off, and this nigga will walk 2 miles an hour and be there before me. Like, what GPS does he have?
That's Michael Myers. Shit. Michael Myers got that slow pace somehow beat you, that turtle versus the rabbit thing.
What the hell?
But Jason be borderline jogging.
Jason do get a little. He do have a little.
Hey boy, Jason walks with aggression.
He walk with a purpose.
Yeah, He's coming to fuck up whatever romantic situation that you have going on. So that's really what it is. So which one of those two? If you had, I mean, just let's say, okay, let's make it easier. Okay. Let's make it easier before you answer. Let's make it easier. You only have to survive running for 24 hours. You just got to get away from this person for a day. You're not running for the rest of your life. You're just running like, okay, start the clock. Somewhere around here, one of them two is now looking for you specifically. Which one of those two do you want chasing after you for 24 hours?
Okay, so when it comes to Jason, does that mean I've already done whatever deed that makes someone to come after me?
Let's just say they have full aggression towards you for whatever Jason, the reason I could
be like, yeah, I just won't do shit sexually.
Exactly, because Jason is such an angry teen that didn't get any before he died, so now nobody can get any. That's my theory about Jason. Let me say that real quick. That's my theory about Jason. Jason is angry because he died at Crystal Lake as a little boy, as a teenager, because somebody was getting some, and he didn't get a chance to get none either. He was kind of watching on his way down, right? He was watching on his way down, and so when he came up, he's looking for those situations, and anybody that's in that situation, he kills them because it just reminds him of dying.
Mad that they could have saved his life if they weren't up there having premarital relations. He say, she say. It's like tomato. You know what I'm saying? He definitely is angry at people in sex. Yes.
Okay? So, yes. That's you're sexing and I'm dying. Oh, I hate sex. Or, damn, look at them doing that. I've always wanted to do that. Oh, I'm dead. So now I'm coming back and I'm looking for them bodies.
So maybe it's a combination of both.
And if you smell like a virgin, he's not interested. That's the only time you die in his movies. But see,
that's what I'm saying. So, that's why it would be an easy choice.
So let's say you did the deed.
That has his aggression.
You did the deed, right? You actually just finished doing the deed. They was like, hey, now that you're satisfied.
I'm all relaxed.
Now that you're relaxed and ready to go to sleep.
Lazy.
One of these two is now after you. Go. Which one? Because you're not just going to go to sleep and be like, oh, I'm going to get my 8 hours. Because no, you're not. Okay. Depending on which one of them is after you, you're not getting 8 hours anymore.
No, I don't think either one of them.
No.
Get 8 hours. I'm trying to remember Michael Myers, like what his norm.
What do you mean by that?
Like I can see Jason's walk. I can see, all that. I can just see Michael Myers' face in the jumpsuit. That's all I see right now. I can't see the walk.
Michael Myers walked like a normal person that has no cares in the world. And he's always the one that pops up on you. See, Jason doesn't pop up on you. Well, he does. But his pop up is like kicking through the door or buzzing through the window or stabbing a knife through the wall, and all of a sudden Jason's here. Yeah. Like, no, Michael is outside your window. Okay. Michael is like, oh, I'm driving down the street. I look down, I look back up, and he's standing in the middle of the goddamn road. And you're like, yo, I thought I just drove 7 miles away from this guy. How is he in the middle of the road again? Or you're in the house, locked all the doors, and then, you go to wash your hands or something. You go look in the window, and all of a sudden it's like, Jason. And he's like, he's in the house with me. That's that guy.
Yeah.
So 24.
And it's so funny. That makes so much sense as to why I always see like this part of him.
Yeah. Because he's always picturing him. Yeah, because that's all you ever see of him is him in the window or him behind you about to kill you. He's
But I would say, okay.
And no. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. Did you know Michael Myers drives?
I want to say I did know that.
I did not learn that until I was well into my adulthood, that there is actually a movie, one of the Halloweens.
That's what I'm
he
thinking
drives
about. One of the cars.
like a brown. No, it's his car. Like he actually has a car in the first couple Halloweens. I don't want to say what it is because I'm in my mind. I'm thinking like a brown station wagon type deal, like old school 80s, 70s kind of car, right?
Maybe I just didn't remember it being his car, but I do remember him driving.
Yeah, because he's a real person. Right? He's just possessed by a demon of some sort, supposedly, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say it's. I'm just giving you the heads up. Michael Myers could drive. You know what I'm saying? That part. Michael Myers can drive. He might be a creeper, like an old man, but he can drive.
I think I would still choose Jason. Just because that popping up shit.
That shit right there will get you killed immediately.
That heart palpitations.
Mm-hmm. You know? Palpitations.
That shit can get serious to take you out.
Yeah, it can, actually.
You know what I mean?
It can.
So, you know, and then, like you said, with Jason, you get him, with Jason, you get him, like you said, busting through doors, or, you know, it's still a shock, but it's a slight warning. I hate to say it in that manner, instead of, you know, you hear like just, get all right. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody hear that shit. They hear that shit.
That's what I say. That shit is not in the editing, okay? That is Jason's corduroys rubbing.
The rhythm.
That's Jason's corduroys rubbing to the rhythm of his walk as he's coming to get you.
Trying to tell your ass, bitch, I'm coming for your ass. All that fornicating. You want somebody in that ass? I'm coming, bitch. I'm coming. That's who that is.
That nigga corduroys makes that noise. That is hilarious. I forgot what all my buttons are. That is hilarious. That's my theory. That's my theory on Jason's soundtrack. It's his pants.
I don't care what nobody's saying. Everybody in that movie they hear that
every single time.
They hear it. I don't care what nobody say. They hear that.
You just be in your living room and.
I know you hear that. I know you can watch the movie and you gonna say it every time. I know y'all hear that.
I know y'all hear him.
Y'all hear him coming.
Everybody hears it.
Bitch, you hear him coming.
You heard him coming. He's got wet corduroys on. His pants are so loud. They introduced him before he got here. Okay, if you ever hear,
okay,
just keep moving until it gets softer.
And if that bitch get louder,
you're going the wrong direction. Oh man, oh that is hilarious.
Pladio Ray.
Hey, we're going to end it right there. This was actually hilarious. Thank y'all for coming out and watching this video with us.
Thank you.
KP, thanks for being on the episode.
Of course.
Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, do all the normal stuff, man. We'll be right here on the next one, man. Pladio Ray Show. We out. Peace.